Hello, today is going to be a little tutorial on Jupyter Notebook, how to install it, what its features are, and its the basic things you can do with it, just to get you started. So to begin, you can download Jupyter Notebook from the Anaconda distribution, which is really just a combination of open source software put together and distributed out to whoever wants it, and it's for data science. Jupyter Notebook is for Python, sort of exclusively. It's an online web IDE, and it could either be a local server on your computer, or a public one on your computer, or a public one on a cloud, which you can access from any computer. The distribution for data science, they named it and branded it Anaconda. So if you were to get on Google, right, go to google.com or to your search engine, DuckDuckGo, whatever, you just type in Anaconda. For me, it shows Anaconda is the first one. If it does not, just put Python afterwards and it should come up. And what you're looking for is the individual edition. You can either click that or go to products at the top left and you'll see individual edition, open source, like I said. Click the download and it should take you down, and then you pick the one for your operating system. So for me, it would be the 64-bit. You download it might take forever, might be really quick. Just go through all of the different options and install it. And once you've installed Anaconda, you will be able to look it up right over here. As you can see, Anaconda has a navigator, which we could get into in the future. And there are two ways to start Jupyter Notebook, right? The first one is going to be through the navigator, which is a GUI interface for running Anaconda programs and software. If it loads, I'll show you it. But another way to do it would be to just simply go to your program search. I'm not sure if Mac has that, but you would search for it this way, Jupyter, and it'll just show up very, very quickly. You click on it and it starts the server. A bunch of little commands come up, and you'll see this right here, localhost. Yours will probably be localhost 8888. I personally made mine localhost 80. That way I could have it public on any computer with some port forwarding, and you can also add some SSL to your Jupyter Web IDE, meaning you can access it anywhere, right? There are some security issues where if you were to make it public, people can access your computer, and that could be a problem. So here is the Anaconda Navigator, where you'll have all of the different IDEs, software, packages, frameworks that you would want for data science. You have R, you have this this right here that'll show you visualization. And if what we're looking at right now is Notebook, not Jupyter Lab, not any of these prompts or these other IDEs. So instead, you would just go right here to Jupyter and click launch, and it'll do the exact same thing that happened before, where you log in. And I've logged in multiple times, and I've set a password on the Jupyter Web IDE, so I'd have to type it in, right? And this is what you would see if you made Jupyter public. You would see this password prompt, you're in, and you have this tree version of directories where you click on one and it goes to other branches, and you can see things like that. If you wanted to edit Jupyter, let me see, Jupyter config, I don't know if it'll show. Okay, let's go here. I believe it's Jupyter. In the Anaconda 3, there is going to be a folder, a file called jupyter.config. Okay, let's see, where is Jupyter? config file. C username dot Jupyter. Okay, so that's where it's at. C username Jesse dot. So here it is. So you would go to your C drive, users, or username, and then you go to Jupyter. And this is if you want to edit Jupyter, just basic editing. So let's open it with Notepad++. You can change the port. Where'd it go? You could change the port, the SSL certificate here, if you guys know what that is. Here I changed it to 80. I made a password here for the public server, and you also have to put in your address, your URL address, if you were to do this. And there's also a tutorial for doing this. Just look up how to make Jupyter public, and you'll be able to get that started. All right, now if we were to go into the tree directory, right, where you start off at the top with all of your files, and the more files you open, the more folders you will have. So open a folder, you get more folders. This is where I put mine, and if you were to click one of these, and notice it's a .ipynb. So that's going to be specific to Jupyter Notebook, and the PY stands for Python, N stands for Notebook. I don't know what the I stands for. So that's the basics of Jupyter Notebook when it comes to installing it. But there are many other things that are possible, and you will see that this is a different type of IDE. With this one, you use blocks and cells instead of typing it all at once. It's kind of like interactive mode, where you start Python in the command prompt, and you go one by one doing different lines of code. So I'll show you what I mean by that. It's very similar to this. You put Python in, and you have interactive mode. So here you could do print, right? There you go. And you can do something like help, and then print. Let's see what that does. And that gives you the doc string, the actual description of print, right? And you could do the same thing here. Print, and you do, 2, and then you do help print. And remember, the help function is to get the documentation on each individual class or function. And it tells you right here it's built in, it requires a value, and it also has these arguments over here. All right, so with Jupyter, let's start with knowing that you can add different cells. So insert cell below, insert cell above, and you could run these individually out of order. This is line 1 that's been run, and if you were to do another one, then you hit Shift Enter or Control Enter, and this is 2. But then if you were to run this again, it would become 3. So notice that the interpreter goes line by line, and the actual line that it's at is the numbers here. So the first one was here, second one was here, and the third one was here, like where the print and the help are. And that's how the interpreter read it, and it records it that way. In addition, you could change these cells into HTML. It's called Markdown. So remember, code is Python, Markdown is HTML, where you would do something like, let's make a header, a big header, and we'll call it header, and then we'll end the tags, right? So you hit enter and you have a header. At the same time, you can create links to it. So watch this. I'll do something like href, just so you could see the possibilities. It's a very exciting IDE. It's very good for learning. And let's do, what did I put, header? Yeah, so you do a little hashtag header, let's do link, and so whenever you have one of these really long Jupyter notebooks with all sorts of information, you can click to different links and it'll take you there. And you can also get the link from this little weird symbol, I don't know what it is, but you just right click it, copy link address, and paste it into the hypertext reference, and that's it, and then it'll actually go out there. You could also copy and paste the very end of it where it just says hashtag header. Just so you can see what a Jupyter notebook looks like when you have been working on it for a while, I'm going to show you my personal notebook. This is where I have been learning Python, and I've created a notebook of notes for myself so that whenever I'm programming, I'm able to review it and sort of keep myself informed with Python as I learn more and more. So notice how this is a mixture of HTML, Python, and basically more HTML. I have a little table of contents that I was able to make with HTML, and the more you use it, the better you get. So something that I find really interesting for Jupyter Notebook is the doc strings and autocomplete. So let's say I were to make well, this is what it looks like. Just remember there are links, but let me show you magic functions. So that's what I want to show you: doc strings and magic functions and code complete. So I'll go one by one. The first one is going to be I would go with magic functions. So whenever you hear the word magic in programming, all it means is that something is built in. So built-in functions would be something in Jupyter, which would be these percentage signs. So you would do the percentage signs, and then you would do the autocomplete, shift tab. You see, oh, you have to run it. So let's do it again. We'll just do command. There's a cell magic, but the cell body is empty. Let's do ipconfig. So as you can see, I could run command functions with these two percent signs, and let's see if I can do nope. There is a way to autocomplete the magic functions. It's just not showing right now. I'm not sure why, but let me try this. X equal 10, X dot, there it is. Okay, so it is working. If you were to do this, usually, there it is. All right, these are all of the built-in functions by Jupyter that you're able to use outside of Python. And it's very, very cool. There are lots of possibilities. These are built-in functions for Python that you can use only in Jupyter. Whenever you see these dunder things, it just means magic or built-in things from Python. And if you were to use the double percentage sign, you would have to put the commands here. And you could do multiple lines. So you could do, if we do command, and we were to do ipconfig and netstat right after each other, they would run one by one. There are a lot of other possibilities, but just remember that if you do the double percentage sign, it's going to be multiple lines. If you do the 1% sign, you have to do it in line. So that's magic functions in Jupyter Notebook. It also has autocomplete. I think we'll end there because we're running close to out of time. So the last two things I'm going to show you is going to be plugins and autocomplete. So there are two different autocompletes that are really, really useful. The first one is just regular tab. Just put whatever class or object and then the period and hit tab, and you will see the different variables and functions that you could use. But if you have one that you're actually using, like let's say 2 bytes, right? And you want to get the documentation, you should hit what is it? I actually forgot. Wow, I haven't programmed in a while. If you want to look at the keyboard shortcuts, go to, you could just take a look. I believe it's Shift Q. I just tried it. Shift Q. Shift tab. Let's try shift. I think you have to run it actually first. Alright. Shift tab. There it is. Okay, so you have to run it. And this shows you the documentation that's inside of the functions that are built in. And you hit the plus sign, and you will see the information that you need to know about any function that you're looking at. This one returns an array of bytes representing an integer, which is interesting. If you wanted to do the same thing but built in with Python, you just put the help keyword, and it'll give you the exact same thing, but it's going to be like this. And I don't like it like that. I like to use Shift Tab to see it like that. And this one's giving me the documentation for help. And this is the exact same thing you'd see on the Python documentation page. So it's really, really useful, really, really quick to use these autocompletes. All right, last thing is plugins. You are able to install plugins here by where is it? Cell kernel widgets. I was able to do it. So there is one called Rise. So Rise Slides Jupyter Notebook. So what this one is, it's an extension that you can add to Jupyter Notebook, and it will make it to where you are able to, oh, here it is. That's all you need to do. All you need is one line. So go to the Anaconda prompt right here. You could find it on Mac OS as well. I just haven't done it before, but it's not that hard. So then you just do conda install, put in this actual code, this actual command in, and it will give you these slideshows. And I'll just give you a quick overview of what it's supposed to look like. Here is one of the files I did for another video. I was able to use this plugin, and when you install it, it's going to show each cell differently. It will give you these options to make each cell, and then you're able to click this right here to actually start the presentation. You're able to move as like a PowerPoint, but it includes the ability to run and edit code. So it's really, really cool for presentations, especially at school, stuff like that. So if I were to do something like print, and then I do func, or for function, and I run it, it'll say yo-yo 1 2 3. All right, that is the basics of Jupyter Notebook. There are many more possibilities, many more things you can do, adding images and videos. It's pretty darn cool. All right, I hope you learned something. That's the basics of Jupyter Notebook.